I remember the first night she crawled under there, not with a storm's fury to blame, but in the dead calm after midnight, when the house held its breath and the only sound was the tick of the clock downstairs, each second stretching like a vein under skin. Mom had said goodnight hours ago, her footsteps fading down the hall, leaving the air heavy with the scent of her chamomile tea, bitter and clinging. Sarah, 8 and fragile as a bird's wing, had been quiet all evening, her eyes fixed on the floorboards as if they whispered back. I was 12, old enough to sense the wrongness in her stillness, young enough to dismiss it as bedtime jitters. She slipped from her bed across the room without a word, the carpet muffling her movements like a conspirator, and wedged herself beneath mine, the mattress creaking faintly as if protesting the intrusion. I lay there, staring at the water-stained ceiling, waiting for her to resurface with some childish excuse. A bad dream, a monster in her closet. But the silence deepened, broken only by the soft rasp of her breathing, irregular, as if she were listening to something I couldn't hear. By morning, she emerged disheveled, curls matted, claiming the floor was cooler, safer. Safer from what? I didn't ask, but the question lodged in my chest like a splinter, festering through breakfast as Mom hummed obliviously, oblivious to the way Sarah's gaze lingered on the cracks in the linoleum, tracing them like maps to buried secrets. Weeks slipped by, and the underbed became her unspoken ritual, a descent I began to dread more than the dark itself. I'd wake to the faint shuffle, fabric whispering against wood, and feel the mattress settle heavier, as if her small weight carried the gravity of something vast. Sometimes, in the hush before dawn, I'd dangle my arm over the edge, fingers probing the void until they brushed her shoulder warm but clammy, like fever sweat on a corpse. She'd seize my hand then, not with affection, but with a grip that lingered too long, nails pressing crescents into my skin that I'd find blooming red in the bathroom mirror later, staring at my reflection until it blurred, wondering if my eyes looked as hollow as hers. School became a haze of half-heard lectures, my mind replaying the night's vigil. The way her breaths hitched, not in sleep, but in rhythm with some unseen pulse beneath the floor. Classmates chattered about playground ghosts, their laughter a distant echo, but I tuned them out, fixated on the grain of my desk, imagining it splitting open to reveal yellow eyes peering up. "You okay?" Tommy asked once, his face too close, breath sour with lunch. I nodded, but inside, doubt coiled tighter. Why my bed? Why not hers, with its frilled canopy and stuffed animals standing sentinel? The answer hovered just out of reach, a shadow in peripheral vision, making every glance over my shoulder a gamble with sanity. Mom's concern crept in like fog, her touches lingering on our foreheads, checking for fevers that weren't there. Her voice laced with a tremor she tried to mask with forced cheer. "Up here, Sarah. Proper bed for a growing girl," she'd urge, fluffing pillows with hands that trembled just enough to notice. Sarah would comply at first, burrowing under covers with wide-eyed promises, but come the witching hour, I'd sense the shift, the mattress lifting imperceptibly, then settling anew, her presence below a weight that pressed up through springs into my spine. One night, insomnia gnawed me raw, and I knelt by the bed's edge, whispering her name into the gloom. No response, just a faint hum, like distant machinery or the vibration of wings against glass. I pressed my ear to the floor, would cool against my cheek, and heard it. Not her voice, but a murmur layered, as if two throats shaped the same word. Closer. My pulse thundered, drowning it out, and I jerked away, heart slamming like a trapped animal. Was it her, playing tricks in the dark? or something else borrowing her tongue? Sleep evaded me after, leaving me adrift in the gray hours, questioning every creak of the house. Settling beams or summons, the heat of summer amplified everything, turning the room into a sweat lodge where doubts stewed and fermented. Fans whirred futilely, stirring air thick with the metallic tang of old wiring, and I'd lie rigid, sheets twisted around legs like restraints, feeling the subtle undulations beneath. Not Sarah's tosses, but a probing, as if fingers tested the slats from below. Thirst pulled me upright one pre-dawn, throat raw as sandpaper, and as I crept toward the door, a new sound rooted me. A tapping, deliberate, like Morse for madness, emanating from the underbed's heart. I dropped to knees that buckled, peering into the black slit where light feared to tread. Sarah? The tapping stuttered, then morphed into a giggle. Hers? No, sharper, laced with an edge that scraped the soul, echoing as if from a well. My hand darted in, grasping cloth that yielded, then snatched away, leaving nails raking air. It's waiting. Her voice floated up, not scared, but conspiratorial, intimate. Waiting for what? Me? The thought burrowed deep, and I retreated to bed, pulling covers overhead, but the darkness pressed in, whispering alternatives. Perhaps she'd always been the lure, her fear a beacon for what slithered in our foundations. Dread seeped into daylight now, tainting meals with unease. Sarah pushing peas around her plate, eyes glazing as if tuning a radio to static. Her drawings multiplied, secreted in drawers. Labyrinths of lines coiling into voids, faces half-formed with too many eyes, mouths open in silent pleas. Dreams, she'd mutter if caught, snatching paper with hands that shook. But I'd linger in her room after, unfolding the trash-hidden ones, heart stuttering at the central figure. A girl under a bed, reaching up, while shadows below reached back, fingers intertwining. School blurred further, teachers' voices drones against the buzz in my skull. Friends' jokes landing like punches to a bruise. You're spacing out again, they'd say, and I'd force smiles, but mirrors betrayed me. Shadows under eyes deepening, skin paling to translucence, as if the void leached color from above. Home offered no solace. Mom's shifts stretched longer, her absences echoing, leaving me to microwave dinners that tasted of ash. Nights, the tapping evolved to scratches, slow drags, testing, patient, vibrating up through bone. I'd flatten to the floor, ear to wood, and hear Sarah's breaths quicken in tandem, her whispers fragmented. It knows. It sees you watching. Watching what? Us unravel, thread by thread? Insomnia carved hollows in me. Coffee grounds scattered like omens on counters. Mom's sidelong glances sharpening to accusations unspoken. You're both ghosts, she'd sigh, popping capsules that rattled like accusations. Her own sleep fractured by our midnight vigils. Sarah's descents grew bolder, spilling into twilight hours. I'd find her there mid-afternoon, curled fetal, rabbit's glass eyes staring blank. Too bright up here, she'd murmur, voice thin as mist, and I'd haul her up, her body limp, unresponsive, until sunlight hit her face. Then she'd blink, confused, as if waking from trance. Doubt gnawed relentless. Was this illness, imagination run feral? Or something older, rooted in the house's warped beams, feeding on our frayed nerves? One evening, anger flared. Over spilled milk, Mom snapped retort, and I stormed upstairs, slamming door till plaster dust sifted down. The bed dipped immediately, Sarah's voice filtering up. Madness calls it closer. I froze, rage curdling to ice. Calls what? Silence, Then the scratch. Frantic now, nails on nails, as if enraged by interruption. Lamp flicked on, bulb stuttering, casting jittery shadows that danced like informants. Flashlight pierced the underbelly. Sarah shrunk to the far wall, but beyond, a fissure in floorboards yawned, exhaling cool, fetid air like breath from lungs long still. And in that slit, glints, eyes, amber-flecked, unblinking, cataloging my fear. The discovery unraveled me slow. A thread pulled till seemed split. Splinters pierced palms as I pried the board, dust choking throat, revealing not subfloor but abyss. Walls undulating subtle, veined with pulses that mocked my heartbeat. The eyes tilted, curious, and limbs unfurled. Spindly, jointless, skin sheened like oil on water. Clawing rim with curiosity turned ravenous. Sarah's wail pierced night, raw as flaying, and I dragged her free, her nails gouging my arm in blind terror, blood welling hot. We sprawled gasping, flashlight cartwheeling beams that fractured reality. The thing recoiling not in retreat, but calculation. Its hiss a sigh of deferred hunger. Mom thundered up, voice fracturing on questions. Her face crumpling at the gash in floor, the evidence of intrusion. Rats? She gasped, sweeping shards with vigor that bordered hysteria, bandaging wounds with cloths that smelled of bleach and denial. But Sarah clung, whispering feverish into my neck. It tasted me first. Now it wants flavor. Flavor? The word lodged, poisonous. As dawn clawed sky to pallor, questions burned. Had it always lurked, or did our fears summon it? Midwife to monstrosity? Repairs came hasty. Boards hammered, chair wedged sentinel, but dread metastasized, infecting every corner. Nights devolved to stakeouts, me rigid above, ear cocked to murmurs below. Sarah's soliloquies, disjointed, addressing it as kin. Not yet. Share the dark. I'd probe with questions muffled by slats. What does it say? Her replies fragmented, laced with giggles that echoed wrong, as if throat constricted by unseen hands. Sleep fragmented to catnaps haunted by visions. Crawling endless, walls closing tactile, her hand in mine morphing clawed. Mornings, mirrors lied. My reflection lagged, smile tardy, eyes slitting feral in flickers. Mom's facade cracked wider, wine bottles multiplying, her touches skittish, avoiding the floor as if it listened. We're fine, she'd insist over dinners turned cold. But her fork scraped plate like accusations, and Sarah's plate stayed barren, her gaze drilling cracks, as if mapping escapes downward. Whispers infiltrated days. Classmates' chatter warped to taunts. Under your skin, huh? Though none knew the delusion rooting deep. Suspense thickened air to syrup, every shadow suspect, every breath shared with the unseen. Then the vanishing. One fevered night, mattress hollow, her absence a scream in silence. Blanket pristine, whole agape, seal sundered by force invisible. Phone light plunged, illuminating descent. Tunnels ribbed slick, breathing faint, and far below, silhouettes twinned. Sarah's form entangled with the pale mimic, their laughter harmonized. A siren's call laced venom. Join. It beckoned in her timbre, hand waving elongated, inviting descent into kinship. Pull inexorable, vertigo's kiss, body leaning unbidden, the edge crumbling under fingers that itched to grasp. Thunder growled distant, lightning etching veins in sky, and I teetered, fall to fusion or flee to fracture. Headlights pierced gloom, Mom's return shattering trance, her silhouette frantic in doorframe. Chair jammed frantic, barricade rebuilt on quaking limbs. Sarah's emergence feigned innocence. Fell asleep down there, but her eyes held residue, amber flecks winking. Seals multiplied. Concrete poured thick, prayers intoned rote. Priests crossed scorching palm with borrowed faith. Yet gravity warped, underbed a lodestone. Sarah's returns nocturnal sacraments. Dread psychologized further. Was she vessel or vanguard? Her touches cooled, whispers insidious. It dreams your dreams, eroding boundaries till I questioned flesh's solidity. School dissolved to absences, world's edges fraying, isolation cocooning us in complicity. Nights, heat rose from below, unnatural, carrying sense of earth and decay. Her breath sinking mine till breaths blurred, identities bleeding. Boxes piled futile, nudged nightly by wills not ours, gaps widening like grins. Dreams inverted. No terror, but allure. Crawls euphoric, reunions embrace in womb dark. Yellow eyes home's hearth. The final unraveling brood in storm's hush. Powers flicker birthing shadows autonomous. Rustle commenced, invitational. Empty without kin, books slipped, pages whispering conspiracies, and gap yawned. Concrete dust sifting like hourglass sands. Peering down, Sarah perched precipice, legs trailing void, face serene masked, twin beside her mirroring malice. Safer woven, she cooed, hand extended, air thickening to compulsion, body swaying toward merger. Lightning clawed, illuminating horrors. Her skin sheen slick, curls writhing subtle, eyes uniform amber. Mom's key scraped lock below, a lifeline snapped taut, and I wrenched back, barricade buckling under desperation. Laughter ascended, dual dirge, as light banished illusion. Sarah surfaced, demure, but shadow clung, eyes receding reluctant. We lingered, house a trap sprung, Mom's resolve fracturing to relocation vows whispered over sedatives. Yet roots delved deeper, things tendrils in psyche's soil, feeding doubts till reality thinned. Sarah's bed lay fallow, mine her altar, descents diurnal now, her absences lengthening, returns marked by pallor deepened, whispers evolved. It hungers your doubt. I trace floorboards, feeling pulses sink, questioning if it birthed from us. Fear's progeny, psychological spawn. Friends faded specters. Mom's eyes mirrored mine. Haunted, hunting phantoms in corners. Suspense crested eternal. Every hush prelude to plunge. Every glance down a flirtation with fall. Dawn one bled pink reluctance. Mattress voided again. Hole devouring deliberate. Light speared depths. Tunnels beckoned bioluminescent. Laughter luring layered. No resistance this time. Craving consummated, body folding into crevice, slats scoring flesh as penance. Descent delicious. Walls yielding maternal. Sarah's grasp guiding.